So I took a chance and I ordered a storage shelter off of Temu. But I figured, hey, for $269, I'll take a chance. So this thing's 12 by 20, but it's 10 feet high, almost 10 feet high. And if you've seen that picture, the supports, it's still like 9 feet, so I can get my backhoe in there. So these are the instructions that it came with, and I'm just showing you so that you can see them. I'm going to put this thing together, and I'm going to tell you how it went for me, and I'll give you any tips that I picked up along the way. But I wanted to see if this thing was going to work, and if it actually, like, so far it seems like it's pretty good and pretty rugged. I mean, it was a lot of storage shelter for $269 and change. So I mostly followed these instructions, but I did a few things differently just because how I was doing it. So I put the thing up on timbers, which you can see here, to give it just a little bit of height and to provide some rigidity rather than trying to pin the feet into the ground. And in the back, the one going crossways, keep the right ratio. For this part, some of the stuff clicks in, some of the stuff you have to put a screw and a nut in. But I put this whole piece together and I didn't tighten anything down until I had this whole top portion of the frame assembled. I like the idea of the wood frame because once the whole thing's together and the cover goes over it, you ratchet strap it to tighten it. And if the feet are sort of pinned in that wood and they can't move, it allows that cover to stay nice and taut and to keep the snow and rain coming right off it and nothing gathering. So now that I got this thing all together with these, you see these cross braces, that's going to be my top height. But with this all together, now I tightened all the screws on this. And I had a little impact gun. Now the next portion, see these legs? There's a short hole and a hole that's a little bit further away from the end. The hole that's further away from the end has to face up. And if it goes the other way, then the feet won't go on correctly. So it's just important to get that correct when you're putting it together. Now this is the main frame, and except for the feet and the lower braces, you pretty much got it together at this point. Now I want to make sure, for sure, check that the tractor's going to fit in there, because that's the main point for me. Now I'm not putting the front cover on because I want to make sure that I have the height for the tractor. I may wind up putting it on later, but I'm not doing it right now. And that's a variation from the instructions. The instructions
I did tighten
now are going to have you put on
I had them
each of the ends, but I didn't screw them to the base yet. What I'm also doing here is I'm putting the feet on, so which is also a variation from the instruction because they want you to pull the tarp over, put the ends on, and then pull the tarp over before you put the feet on. So that's a slight variation. I'm just putting this back end on, and I put the feet on, and then I'm going to pull the tarp over. The instructions say to use 2 people to pull the main cover over, but what I have done is I put a couple of the crossbars in because there's slots that they go in, and then I tie a rope to it, and I throw the rope, and the rope comes in the kit, and I throw the rope right up over the top of that, and with the ladder I just kind of hoist a little bit of it at a time, as you can see, and I just pull the whole thing right over. And I get it in a position doing it that way. So it's a little bit of a pain, but you can definitely do it by yourself, no problem. Now that the main cover is in place, I take these lower portion braces, and they're integrated into the cover itself. And you work them all in, and then you have to go to each joint or each upright and clamp around the upright beam and the cross brace that goes through the cover, and you just got to go all the way around and work those in one at a time. And again, all this is still just hand tightened right now, and then once that's all hand tightened and I know that it fixes the distance that everything's going to be apart. After that's all done, then I pin the feet into the wood, and I have some I got some heavy duty wood screws because the holes are pretty good size, and I screw them down. One tip I'm going to give that I didn't see is that the feet, the 4 feet that go on the 4 corners of the ends, the holes are side to side instead of front to back. So it's important to make sure that those 4 feet go on the ends, not somewhere else, because it keeps the screw holes out of the way of the bolt, because the one that goes on the ends has a hook in it, so it's different than the rest of them. There is a strap that's already run through the top of it, and that hooks to the ratchet straps, and you can use those ratchet straps to start to keep the cover in place so it's not going to go anywhere once that's all done. Now, with all the feet pinned, then I'm going to go through this thing and I'm going to pin all those horizontal braces that are down low, and I try to push them down as far as I can go. When you're tightening these braces, it's important to do the brace that is further away from the upright first, where you see where I'm pointing, and then do the inside ones last, because otherwise, if you do it the other way, it'll actually loosen it, but if you do it that way, it'll tighten it on the upright so that the thing can't slide up and down. So it's a little thing, but that's important to keep everything rigid when you're done. And I just went through with the impact, pushed them down to keep them tight, tighten them up, and we're done.